Hi, I'm Adam Drake from Mugen Seiki Racing. Today I'm going to talk about compounds. What I'm going to do is do a little comparison between the Proline S versus M compounds and let you know the way I go about choosing the correct compound for the condition. A lot of times you'll hear people saying, oh, you need to run a specific compound if it's within a certain temperature range, and that can be helpful, but it also can be really confusing because there are more variables involved when choosing the correct compound, and I'm going to go over a few of those ways that help make choosing the correct compound easier. Okay, so I'm going to start by talking about the Proline M compounds. What I have here is M3. M3 has been around a really long time and overall is just an awesome compound from Proline. So typically with the M compounds, whether it's M3 or M4, they're going to generate more grip than the S compound, but the S compound is going to be a bit more stable. So we'll get more into the S compound in a minute. But as far as the M compound goes, they usually work best in cool and then damp or wet conditions. So typically, like if you have a newer layout at your track and the track was built, has a lot of moisture in it, you're going to want to run an M compound because it's going to help generate a little bit more grip. As the surface dries out, if you start to feel that the M compound is a little bit unstable or kind of wiggles a little bit, that's when you're going to consider, first, if you're running an M4, you would consider going to an M3, a little bit harder tire, a little more stable. If you're already running an M3, then you may want to consider going to an S4, because again, S is going to be a bit more stable. As far as the S compounds go, these are going to be used usually when the track is drier and the surface is more abrasive. So if you start to notice with your M compound that the pins are actually tearing at the base, or the pins are even getting completely torn off the carcass, that's a good sign that it's time to go to the S compound. The S compound again is a little bit more durable, actually quite a bit more durable, and also more stable. So in drier conditions, also in warmer weather, is when you're going to want to run the S compounds. And part of that is because if you were to take your finger and kind of roll the pin and let it snap back, the S compound will kind of snap back a little bit slower. And that's where you're going to kind of gain that support and stability, where the M springs back a little bit quicker. It's going to help make it a little bit more agile and just overall generate a little bit more raw traction. Another great thing with the S compounds is they are super, super consistent in longer races. So between the two, it seems like when the M compounds get heat in them, you'll notice that heat a little bit more, where the tire starts to get that feeling of being a bit too soft and unstable. The S compounds sometimes take a couple laps to get a little bit of heat in them, but once they have heat in them, it's really stable and really consistent, and for the most part has become the standard for us as far as longer main events. Now, if it's really, really cold and damp and tire wear is super low, we'll continue to run the M compounds. But most of the larger races where it's a longer final, the track gets dry as the race goes on, you'll maybe give up a little bit of that just initial grip in the beginning of the race to have the consistency and stability throughout the entire race by using the S compounds. So just to kind of, I guess, run back through it really briefly, M compounds are more for damp, cooler conditions. The S compounds are for when the dirt is more abrasive, and also for longer finals, again, when the track is more abrasive and tire wear becomes a concern.